Welcome, Jordan.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Jordan, you and I know each other well. You are a part of Convexity, an equity research analyst firm focusing on tech stocks. You're phenomenal on SaaS businesses and the chip sector. And we have a collaboration also. Full disclosure, in we run a NewDeal Invest portfolio together on eToro, the NDI FutureTech portfolio in there, which is it's a quite successful collaboration so far. And you just made a post on the SaaS drawdown, or the drawdown in software stocks we've been seeing, and I thought it was phenomenal. So I wanted to share your insights with our listeners, and maybe on YouTube as well. And what I really like was your style is observe. You observe stuff, so you describe what is happening, and I got a good sense of why the drawdown is here and what I should be looking out for in the future. So it's amazing that you would come and help us out.
Yes, well, yeah, I'm happy to share some of the insights that we're seeing here at Convequity.
Yeah. So in 2025 was by many supposed to be reacceleration, sort of the year of the AI application, and people were thinking that software should benefit from that. And yet we see software stocks declining. What's going on?
Yes, so it is interesting. So we are seeing a rotation of capital away from enterprise software into other areas of tech. And it's the reasons for it at the moment are not quite clear. It's kind of like when you see like when the inverted yield curve kind of reflects what the bond market's collective wisdom is in regarding to any upcoming recessions. It's a little bit like that. It's hard to put your finger on why exactly, but we are seeing a relative flow of capital moving away from enterprise software into other areas. Enterprise software companies, examples are well, the ultimate one is Salesforce, and you've got ServiceNow, Workday. These kind of are kind of CRM vendors or kind of back office type function vendors, helping IT and back office functions. You also got companies like Monday.com, Datadog. There's numerous, yeah. So
And so the market is
yeah,
telling us that there could be something going on. You gave the example with the bond market
yeah,
that you need to, when the market is dropping down, you can either say, "Oh, the market must be stupid," or you could sort of
yeah,
try to figure out why is the market selling these stocks out.
yeah. Yeah, and that's it. It's not. I haven't seen any individual investor declarations on what is happening, but as you say, it's like a collective wisdom of the market, or we're seeing an emergent signal of that. And um, I think one of the reasons is well, there are some actual early clues quantitatively of what's happening. So we've seen that enterprise software companies, their payback periods have been increasing during the last few quarters. And basically, what this shows is it's taken them longer than it was previously to recoup their costs that they spend on acquiring customers. And this could be because maybe they are spending more in sales and marketing to compete with more AI native startups, or it could be that they are offering discounts in order to compete, and therefore gross profit is slightly declining. So that's one possible reason. Another one is even for the enterprise software companies that are not currently experiencing an increase in their payback period, they still seem to be out of favor. And at Convectity, we're sensing that this might be because investors are uncertain about the future of seat-based SaaS companies. So there's many SaaS-based companies that have a revenue model where it's just simple. A company will pay for a user per month, and that's the model. It's a fixed price every month.
And that's
Um,
because AI is reducing the
yeah,
company's need for employees or their
yeah,
headcount numbers.
yeah. There's that as well, but that's kind of a separate thing. But what I was just mentioning, yeah, there's two things there. There's a misalignment with the cost of inferencing and what the current seat-based model is. So obviously SaaS vendors offer a fixed price per user per month, but we know that inferencing costs can vary with AI usage. And this could be problematic, and it's probably why investors are turned off by C-based SaaS, even though their metrics are still pretty solid in terms of revenue growth, even the payback period. And this is because, well, when you think about the cost of inferencing, already just in the large language model and the Copilot era, like the first wave of AI, inferencing costs were quite high. And that basically just involved a user asking a question and the large language model retrieving the information from its knowledge base or using RAG, which is something called retrieval augmented generation, in order to consult an expert knowledge base or some type of document. But anyway, that was a less complex back and forth between the user and the large language model, and there was a lot of inference costs associated with that, associated with the compute, but that has been declining. But now we're going into the agentic era of AI. And so AI agents are not only doing all of that, what I've just mentioned regarding fetching answers from their knowledge base, they're also taking action. So they're taking action and interacting with other agents, and then interacting with systems, all of which have their own compute that they need to do when after that interaction. So the compute is kind of the inference costs using AI agents could be increasing at an orders of magnitude. Even as inferencing costs at the GPU level, the performance per dollar or the performance per watt is declining rapidly, thanks to a lot of factors, but including NVIDIA's next generation GPUs. Yeah, for a while it was theoretical. So as I say, we had the first wave of AI, which was large language models and co-pilots, which was kind of just generating stuff. That's why it's called Gen AI. It was generating summaries, generating analysis, and there was talk about AI agents maybe 18 months ago actually taking action, but it didn't happen for a long while. But the 2025 has been the year of AI application because we're seeing the likes of Cursor and Replit, these AI coding agents, but not even just coding, kind of almost entire engineering tasks can be done autonomously with Cursor, for example. So we are not that far away at all. It's actually happening, but it's the software development side of technology that is pioneering this agentic AI. And the key difference is, first wave of AI was generating content, and now agentic AI is taking action. Yeah. So, but it is happening, and yeah, we can do. There's a couple of companies we can just discuss regarding that, how they are getting disrupted on the software development side.
So we have agentic AI is where AI is doing the actual work, and that would be a substitute maybe for something that an employee would be sitting in a business and doing today using Salesforce management software. So actually the part of Salesforce that is helping the customer do whatever he's doing might be sort of in a disruption phase where it might not be necessary anymore. So they have an innovator's dilemma there that
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, interesting you mentioned Salesforce, because there are numerous AI native startups focusing on the sales pipeline, on the CRM. A couple come to mind, Alta and Jiva is another one. Now, what these type of companies are doing, they've created an AI agent that can do research about sales targets, customer sales targets, do the outreach to the customer, do the prospecting, scheduling follow-up calls, arrange follow-up meetings. So these AI agents can do this, and that's a big part of what Salesforce offers and any other CRM provider like HubSpot. So the sales CRM from start to finish is a long process, but if these AI agents are kind of disrupting the front end, then potentially they are in time will like take away the revenue and profit potential of these incumbent CRM SaaS providers. And then if this happens, the user is interacting with the AI agent, not the user interface of Salesforce or HubSpot. And therefore, the incumbent CRM vendor is potentially losing direct communication with their user, losing a lot of value with that. And you can see that over time, you can easily see how value could transition away from the incumbents over more to the AI agents. And that's not to say that these AI native CRM providers or set sales assistants are going to completely replace the incumbents. But cleverly, what they're doing is integrating with these CRM vendors as well. And that's becoming this whole agentic AI space is becoming quite easy to do, or not easy, but it's easier for these startups because the Anthropic, the company behind the Claude large language model, is they created the MCP protocol for agentic AI. So AI agents can communicate with each other and share information. And this is an open standard that so they're allowing anybody to use this MCP in order to connect agents and to connect to systems. So this is what these AI startups are doing. They've got a good business idea. They've built an AI agent, and then they can use this MCP protocol to connect to systems like the incumbents in order to just generate more synergy and value for the end user. But
And
there is some
and you gave this picture of the future for these for the CRA for the Salesforces and the HubSpots of the world, that they could become the plumbing system sort of, and your point was that these agentic AI applications, they need to have access to real data from the companies that they are helping,
yeah.
and that the software companies could become the plumbing. Could you explain that?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So yeah, these AI agentic interfaces could potentially disintermediate the need to interact directly with the SaaS application, right? And but there is still some value in these SaaS incumbents. But as you say, they could become the plumbing layer. So the reason they're still important is because the likes of Salesforce and like ERP systems like SAP and any kind of major SaaS back office function, they are like a system of record for enterprises. So they are storing valuable data about customers, suppliers, everything about the enterprise. And
And
it's important.
securing the
It's
data and
yeah. And what agents need, they need this system of record because if agents are autonomously taking action they're in the enterprise, that means not only are they reading information from these systems, they're also writing to these systems and updating, inserting new information, etc. So if you want an agent to do that across your enterprise, they need to be interacting with the source of truth, the ground truth data within your enterprise. And you don't want really, and the way I see it is you don't really want these agents working on secondhand information, data that's in these peripheral applications that aren't actually core to the enterprise and don't represent the source of truth, the most reliable data. So these incumbents will still have a place for now because yeah, it's system of record. They've got that data, the governance of that data. But yeah, they could just be that plumbing layer. They're not actually the interface, the user experience layer, or even doing the orchestration. The agentic AI interfaces will do all that. But these agentic AI interfaces also need that solid backbone, which is the system of record. So yeah, that's the way that SaaS could just become the plumbing layer. Could be, like SaaS actually could. An analogy is like the SaaS, which is currently or was the interface. It was what the user experience that could kind of take a step back and either become the middleware or like the infrastructure almost, because the agentic AI is operating on top of that, and that's the layer in which the user will interact. I mean, a lot of these enterprise software companies that I pointed out in the report are actually making good progress with AI, internally. Like we're seeing the likes of Palo Alto Networks, even GitLab. They're increasing their margins because they're using AI internally, but also adding AI externally to their products. But it's the problem is that it's similar to how SaaS originally disrupted legacy on-prem business applications. Um, it's like the likes of ASAP, Oracle, these legacy on-prem applications at the time, they found it very, very difficult to switch to the cloud, just because of technical debt. It's so difficult to refactor an entire code base in another language, or switch your hosting environment to like from on-prem to the cloud. Even when they knew the cloud was the future, so many companies couldn't jump on board in time, and they missed the SaaS evolution and the success from SaaS. So, and I think with in this time around, every company, every enterprise software knows how important AI was. Unlike back in the early 2010s, it wasn't that clear that cloud and SaaS was the way forward because there's a lot of security issues and stuff. But there isn't that anymore. Definitely, everyone knows AI is the way to go. But yet, even though they're trying, they still can't do it as good as the AI native startups, right? And why is that? Well, for one, it's finding the talent. Finding AI talent is very, very scarce, and to find super AI talent is very, very hard. Um, I mean, a lot of these AI specialists, they're quite philosophical and visionary, and so instead of working for corporate executives who are going to dictate to them what they need to do, they would rather start their own thing, found their own company, and so they can shape their own values and beliefs. But even if, say, Salesforce or any other incumbent could find the AI talent and attract them to the company. There's also like the frictions, cultural frictions,
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
the AI talent has the specialist knowledge in order to implement these AI models into existing systems. But all the non-specialist developers that have been working there for a long time and they're heavily invested in these projects and the work that they've been doing previously, there's just going to be friction there because naturally they'll want to continue down the roadmap that they've been working on. But yet they've got to change the roadmap, they've got to change the direction. So naturally there's going to be frictions there. And then even if like they can find the AI talent and they can get the AI talent working relatively well with the existing developers, that just kind of putting a modern AI system and retrofitting it into an existing environment it's just very, very difficult because of the technical debt. And technical debt in software is hard to explain, but a good example is Eric Yuan, the founder of Zoom. Before he founded Zoom, he was working at Cisco as an executive in the kind of late 2000s, and he tried to convince his superiors, his executives, to take WebEx, which was the on-prem video calling system of Cisco's back then, and trying to make it a cloud hosted one, turn it into a SaaS. And even though all the economics were there, it was a good idea. And Cisco probably wanted to itself, they just couldn't do it. Either the executives didn't have the energy or the time, or thought that it was too costly, or thought it was too risky, could cannibalize their existing product. So they didn't go forward with it because of technical debt as well, just the difficulty of doing it. And then lo and behold, Eric Yuan a few years later started Zoom, and then Zoom overtook Cisco as the number one video calling service, right? And Zoom, thank God for Zoom during COVID because without Zoom, businesses would have crumbled.
Yeah, we
So
we're
that's just
we're on Zoom right now. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
that's an amazing story. So I think to wrap it up, what you describe in the write-up is that you can measure that the cost that these businesses, software businesses, take to increase their sales is the payback time is a little bit longer, and you see pressure on gross margins and maybe sales costs are going up and all of these small things that's sort of is a measurable thing that is a collective. We don't know why it is. You've been alluding and
Yeah,
talking. We've been discussing a lot of different reasons for this might occurring, but it could be an early sign that we are seeing these businesses having somewhat more some
yeah,
problems
yeah,
delivering on the valuations that they used to have. And
yeah.
yeah, so I can only recommend to go in and take a look at it. And then we wanted to pick your brain, have your take on just four stocks: Confluent, GitLab, Monday, and Palantir. Before we wrap it up, so give us your really just two headliners on what's the problem at Confluent? Why are investors in doubt about Confluent?
Right. So Yes, Confluent, just to give you a brief explanation of Confluent, what they do is they ingest and process data in real time as applications, whether it's an e-commerce platform or whether it's an IoT sensor or whether it's any other application. They will ingest the information, process it, and then send it to an internal system that needs that information, or a database or a data warehouse for analysis. And they they do have a part in the whole AI theme, because AI models they have vector databases. A vector database is a numerical representation of all of their knowledge. Yeah, and so Confluent is contributing by streaming data to these vector databases and updating them. However, what Confluent does, it streams structured data. Yeah, and we know that AI is largely unstructured. Large corpuses of text, documents, images, video. So at the moment, Confluent doesn't have an answer for that, for processing, ingesting and processing unstructured data in real time. So that is kind of why they are in AI a little bit, but out the loop at the same time. Interestingly, Snowflake, they bought a company called Datavolo in late 2024, and this is what Datavolo does. They process real-time unstructured data, specifically for AI models. So that's another reason why we're bullish on Snowflake. But Confluent doesn't quite have an answer for that at the moment. So yeah, I would say that's why they can't process real-time unstructured data for AI models.
And then GitLab it has also been under a lot of pressure recently.
Yeah. So with GitLab, originally we did think that they might have been on the right side of AI. It was quite quick in introducing an AI code assistant. As developers are writing code, the AI code assistant could complete the line of code or make other suggestions. But then there's been these AI native um, IDEs, stands for Integrated Developer Environments, such as Cursor, Windsurf, Replit. These companies have built a developer uh, environment from the ground up and made it AI native. And with Cursor, that Cursor goes way beyond just doing code suggestions. But they have actually brought us into the era of agentic AI, because they can autonomously code and engineer, and entire code bases. Whereas GitLab is still in the code suggestions, and it's very much you when using GitLab, you've got to be the developer has to really direct GitLab on what to do. But Cursor can just be more autonomous. I think a big measure to evaluate how good Cursor is and these other AI native coding setups is refactoring. So like refactoring a code base is probably one of the hardest challenges to do in software engineering. And while I wouldn't say Cursor could refactor an entire code base, it can do significant chunks of that. And there's so much to go in when you refactor in a code base. You might be changing the language of the software, and you've got to have global context and understand if you change this file, what it will do downstream to this file, and etc. Cursor can do that. But yeah, GitLab is nowhere there at the moment. So
So
and
GitLab is
originally,
being, yeah, just a lot of competition coming in, and actually new
yeah,
and better products that
and
that GitLab
and
hasn't come with the answer to yet.
and
We need to be a little bit brief, Jordan. We're running
oh,
out
right,
of
right,
time.
sorry, yeah,
Yeah, no
yeah,
problem. It's lovely that you have so much
yeah,
knowledge
yeah,
that everybody wants to hear. So we just want your sort of short take on Monday, because you're a little
yeah,
bit more positive on Monday. Monday also
yeah.
been declining stock price wise, but you're more positive there. Why?
Yeah. Well, for Monday, they just have the ingredients already to be a leader, to be a winner in agentic AI. So they have the co-pilot. Yeah. They were very early at introducing a co-pilot when we had the first wave of AI. So the co-pilot can, as we discussed earlier, summarize, analyze, generate content. We know what a co-pilot is. The other building block of agentic AI, simplistically, is automation. Yeah, this is what Monday was founded on: process automation, understanding the workflows within a CRM, within a developer's workflow, within an IT admin's workflow, understanding step by step what they need to do in their work, and automating that. So we've got automation and we've got the copilot. You put those together and you have an AI agent, because an AI agent does both of that. It does what a copilot can do, but it also takes actions across workflows as well and gets things done. Um,
Could you
one day
understand
I'll
it
do.
as Monday is actually facilitating agentic AI, whereas for many other software businesses, agentic AI is a competitor to what they offer at the moment?
Absolutely. I think they're playing it rather well in they are the agentic AI. They've got a few products coming out. They have Monday Magic, but they also have Monday Vibe, which is actually going to be a coding agent as well. So no code, you can just natural language prompts within the Monday.com platform. You can create applications, any application you need to fill the gaps in your workflows and your work management. So I think they're very well positioned. I think why investors might be not really buzzing about Monday.com at the moment. Payback period hasn't necessarily increased that much, but it's just the management hasn't really framed what they're doing as agentic AI. They're calling it work execution. I don't know why they're not jumping on the buzz of agentic AI, maybe because it's overhyped. But management actually doesn't talk about them doing AI agents, which I find is quite weird. But they are doing it.
I think what investors are not so good at maybe in these situations are to think about the product's competitiveness in 3 years and 5 years,
Mm.
and thinking that, because it doesn't matter for the share price right now or for the earnings right now, but it matters for the earnings in 1 year, because you'll begin to see that path, and I think that's what you're talking about with GitLab, where their competitiveness in 3 years is very much in doubt right now, and the same thing for Confluent, but for Monday, you see a path where their competitiveness in 3 years is really good. Their product lineup in 3 years could be really good. And actually, when we were having discussions about Palantir for 2 years ago, something like that, you said that Palantir was in 10. You said, well, they're going to solve it. They're going to have the product lineup, and they're going to be able to scale. And I was like, no, no, no. I want to see it happen first. I don't believe
Yeah,
anything I don't see in the numbers. So we didn't get to buy Palantir before it was in 50, 40, or $50 for our
yeah,
eToro
yeah,
portfolio. And I'm
yeah,
sorry
yeah.
for that. But how do you see now everybody's talking about Palantir is so expensive, and this is and they use PE, which I think is absolutely nonsense for a company like Palantir. But tell us, how do you see Palantir right now?
Yeah. Well, recently, yeah, the latest growth has accelerated to 48% now. I mean, earlier this year, despite a lot of hype around Palantir, we was saying, well, they've still not had their Nvidia moment yet, where, Nvidia back in 2023, 2024 had reached 100% and more year-on-year growth. And I think Palantir is potentially as pivotal to AI as Nvidia. It's just going to be kind of stretched out a little bit more. So yeah, they're growing at 48% right now in the latest quarter, but we could feasibly accelerate it even more and potentially even get 100% revenue growth, because they only have 600 and something less than 700 customers right now. And just think of all the potential customers they could have a major impact on. So they've really not even scaled yet. And they are the only company that can implement AI models highly effectively into an enterprise environment securely and with good governance and access control. And yeah, so they're the only company that can do that. Palantir has always been on the US's side right from day one. One of the reasons they was founded was, well, Peter Thiel was motivated after the 9/11 attacks and to begin Palantir in order to chase down these terrorists or suspected terrorists. And they was actually pivotal in finding Osama bin Laden and assassinating him. So Palantir has always been US aligned and West aligned, and they'll never ever sell their services to China or any China ally. So they've said that right from day one.
Jordan, it's been a blast having you here and learning about about these companies. Just for disclosure, we collaborate on the NDI-FutureTech portfolio on eToro, and we used to be long GitLab and Confluent. We've sold those and 1 and 2 quarters ago, and we are long Monday and Palantir at the moment. Yeah. So and if you find Jordan's analysis here relevant, do look us up on eToro. On our wall, you can see Jordan's write-ups on these software companies, and do look at Convexity. where you can subscribe and get these write-ups. And yeah, like I said, I think one of the things you do really good is that you analyze and you get the pros and cons, and you get this, you're just being educated to know more. And like our Danish listeners are really benefiting from yours and Simon, your partner's knowledge, because a lot of the stuff I tell on this podcast in Danish is really your knowledge that I'm passing on to the Danish listeners. So thanks for being here, Jordan. It's been a blast.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.